Hello, students. I had one student who said that it went so fast on the other videos and he really didn't quite get the if function explanation. So I'm going to go through that real quickly for you. So first of all, it tells us that it wants us to put a Vlookup function in here to find out how much money he's going to pay for this silver ring, and these are options down here. So we click on the FX, and Vlookup is there because I looked for it before. If you type in, you're going to come up with several lookups, but you always want Vlookup. So our lookup value is silver. Our table array is the area where that information is found, which is right here. It contains silver and the cost. And then the column index number. Even if this was all the way over here and it was in columns E and F, this would still be, you start, this is 1 and this is 2, so our column index number is 2. And it's very important that you put false here. Now, notice that when I get this correct, it's telling me it's reading silver, it's telling me where it's pulling it, it's telling me the value here, and then it's saying that it's false in this case. So I'm going to hit OK, and it gives me the right number, and then I pull this down. Uh-oh, something's wrong. Look, when I click here, it lights up all the cells it refers to. And notice that it's lighting up one row down. So that was a relative cell reference. When I copied it one row down, each one of its references went one row down. So we've got to go back up here, and we are going, if I click FX, it'll pull it up in the dialog box again, which makes it easier to deal with. There you go. And this table array needs to be an absolute cell function, which it will be if I just hit F4. It puts $signs in front of the column and the row, and it will always point to that. So now when I hit OK and I copy it down and I click here, this went down one, but this stayed the same because this was still a relative cell reference, but the reference to the table stayed the same. Now we are ready for our if function. Oops, I need to hit escape because I was just making a change in that. So I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to go back to my function box. And because I've looked up if, but it usually is at the top of your list, it's right there. So if, remember that here on the logical test it says checks whether a condition is met and returns one value of true and another is false. So if this equals yes, and notice that I have an error here, so that tells me something is wrong with my syntax. So if I go back here and I click and I put this in quotes, now it's saying it's true because they did select personalization. If it's true, this value equals this cost plus this cost times this personalization surcharge, and that needs to be an absolute cell reference. So I'm going to hit F4, and it's going to put the $signs in front of both. And I didn't have to have it highlighted because I had just entered that value. Now the value, if false, is that it's just $400, and it's not. So I'm going to hit OK here, and something's wrong here. Let's find out. Look at that. For some reason, oh, because I didn't need equals, it put it in as a string of text. So there you go. Now it says that the value is 420 for true, 400 for false, but it says it's true. Now you know that all of this is correct. So I hit OK. Then I hover over this, the fill handle on the lower right, till I get the solid cross and drag it down. Now my monthly payment is going to use the payment function, and I'm doing this from memory, so I really hope it's correct. So I'm going to put payment, and what we want is this PMT function. And PMT takes the rate, which is 3%, absolute cell reference, right? So So I'm going to put F4. Now this says calculates the payment of the loan based on a constant payment and constant interest rate. If the interest rate per period for the loan, for example, 6% divided by 4 for quarterly payments, well, this is annual payments, so we have to put divided by 12. Now, the number of periods is right here, this times 12, because we're going to make monthly payments. The present value is the amount of money that we're borrowing, and it needs to be expressed as a negative amount because we owe that amount. Otherwise, you're going to come out with a negative value. We don't care about the future value, and we don't care about the type. So we hit OK. Let's see. We got our absolute sale reference in there. All right, hit OK. And now when we pull it down, we should get the monthly payments for everyone. Please feel free to ask me any questions. I am absolutely delighted to help you with it. And this really didn't take me very long. So I hope that you're all doing well. Excel is difficult. Access is more difficult. So we've got something to look forward to. So long.